Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about hobby and YouTube burnout, quitting, and mental health in general. I'm going to share a little bit about myself with hopes that it could help people out there that might be struggling. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. So I've noticed that as we've been kicking off the year 2024, that more people than usual have been a little bit down on the hobby in general. Been seeing a lot of videos about hobby burnout or people quitting the hobby, whether it's the price increases or they're just getting upset with Games Workshop. Maybe they're not enjoying the rules or the gameplay or whatever their reason is. I've also seen quite a few videos lately from some larger creators and some more niche that they are leaving YouTube altogether or stopping content creation, whether again is from actual burnout or possibly like fatigue of content creation or the internet. Maybe they're not financially making the money that they need to sustain. But regardless, I've been seeing a pretty big trend lately. And then finally, I just want to talk a little bit about like giving up and pursuing and just perspective and how it sort of like all shapes your overall like attitude and happiness. So for me, the hobby, gaming, and then also like YouTube and content creating is all about me just sort of like sharing my experience with the community. Now, obviously on this channel, I talk quite a bit about like current events, news, exciting new things going on in the hobby. I try to reflect not only my opinions as like a 30+ year veteran, like gamer and hobbyist, but also make sure to reflect the overall like opinions and feelings of the community as well. And of course, there's going to be like a lot of like typical trends, ups and downs, like there is just with life in general. Whether it's seasonal, typically in the beginning of the year, people tend to be like a little bit more depressed or sad. They might not financially be in as good of a place or be coming off of like a really exciting holiday season or big spending. Typically this time of year is a big time for layoffs. Perhaps people are disappointed by how their last year ended or how their new year is beginning. Or maybe it's just like the seasonal addition changes in the actual game itself. The first quarter of the year tends to be, for most people at least, the worst. And this year in particular, I've noticed that there has been like overall a lot of like sort of sadness or displeasure, whether it's financially motivated or just overall burnout, that it seems like a lot of creators or a lot of people like in the gaming or hobby space are just really feeling the pressure. So hopefully I could share a little story about myself, a little bit of how I look at things, like maybe my perspective, and possibly just help some people get through some difficult times. So I don't talk a ton about like my personal life or anything on here, but I have mentioned many times over the 1,000+ videos that I've created and the multiple years that I've been on YouTube. Obviously, I show up almost every single day and make a video for you guys pertaining to Warhammer, gaming, the industry. Sometimes I put a little spin on it, but most of the time it's more of just like a kind of news and like what's happening today. But I'm very fortunate in the sense that because I've been in the hobby, in the gaming, in the community for so long, that I don't really get burnt out the same way that other people do. I found a lot of good ways to like shift my interest between like certain topics or certain projects. I found a nice balance of hobbying, painting, and playing has really helped me to like keep my level of excitement. And when I'm not feeling one thing, I always have a bunch of other stuff that I can mess around with. So first off, as far as content creating is going, I think one thing that really benefits me is my overall attitude towards like the channel itself and like creating content. And I think that's something that I see oftentimes reflected in other content creators, but opposite. So for a lot of content creators, they look at this either as a job or just some sort of a requirement, something that they have to do, whether it's put out a video once a week, once a month, once a day. If their video has to reach a certain amount of views or they have to have a certain amount of Patreon subscribers, they feel like there's a requirement behind it. And oftentimes it'll be reflected in their like overall attitude or content. If they're not reaching those goals, they'll be disappointed or try to make a push towards it, or oftentimes let people know that, hey, they got to quit and go do something else. And I'm very fortunate that I'm not in that boat. I don't have to make this content. I don't need the monetization from it. I do it because I love it. I really enjoy it. And while my content itself is not always positive, I try to give you guys like an accurate reflection of how I'm feeling towards like the hobby, towards Games Workshop, towards the game itself, etc. But overall in real life, I'm like a really happy person. I pretty much enjoy everything I do, always have a good time, and that helps me to overall have a positive outlook on everything. So when it comes to the actual content creating aspect, I don't look at it as every day I have to get up and make a video. I look at it as every day I get to wake up and make a video, which is awesome because I love Warhammer And while I don't always love Games Workshop, I love what they provide for us, an escape from the real world. And very recently, I found out that we had a death in the family, and obviously it hit really hard. Like everyone, I've had a lot of ups and downs in my life. When it was good, it felt like it was going to stay good forever. And when things were bad, it always felt like it couldn't get worse and it was never going to get better. But the truth is, you feel a lot of the highest highs and a lot of the lowest lows, but most of the time you kind of operate in that just regular zone. And I think a lot of it is your actual attitude towards life, just sort of how you look at your perspective. And for me, I like to always have that positive outtake, that positive spin, that sort of glass is half full mentality. And it's not easy. I definitely cultivated that over time, but it definitely helps me to enjoy the day-to-day a lot more. But obviously with the loss of a family member, it really hit hard. A part of me just kind of wanted to shut down, close off, isolate, and be sad. And I'm sure that every single one of you guys has gone through that, whether it was a loss of a family member or a job, a close friend. It's easy to let something bad happen in life and sort of bring you down. But I think those times are when it's most important to have that positive outlook. I'm not saying to just put a fake smile on your face and go about life and pretend like nothing's wrong. You should always go through like some kind of grieving process. It's okay to be disappointed or sad or angry. But I think the most important thing is to be able to move on. Because for me, one thing that I have noticed that has gotten me very far in life and kept me going when things were really tough was momentum. And I think it's very important that no matter what happens, no matter what life throws at us, that we always keep on keeping on. And it's not always easy to look at things and be thankful for what we have, especially when we're dealing with an important loss. But just like I was talking about earlier with the channel and my perspective on things, how I wake up and I'm just happy that I get to make YouTube videos, that I get to talk about Warhammer and the IP that I love, that I get to interact with you guys on a regular basis. I get to build and paint and play with little toy figures. I know that for me personally, my glass is half full outlook, my positive outlook, my overall just general happiness in life was something that I had to build up over time, that I had to train myself to do. And it wasn't always easy. And like everybody else that's listening still, I'm sure you guys have been through trials and tribulations. Sometimes you've had plenty of things to be thankful for, and other times you felt like you didn't have anything. I think one thing that I love so much about Warhammer, about the hobby, about gaming and YouTube, is it's sort of an escape from the real world. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit about my personal life, about my journey and my outlook, what the hobby and YouTube means to me. And I guess just to open up a little bit about my loss, because obviously everybody loses someone or something that they care about a lot, and it's not always easy to get through. And I guess as silly as it sounds, Warhammer for me has been something that I could always count on. Sometimes the addition came a little too quick, or the rules weren't that great. Maybe the game wasn't quite as popular, or I didn't get the models that I wanted. But over 30 years, one of the most important things to me about Warhammer is it's always sort of been a rock. Something in my life that I could count on. One thing I always love about Games Workshop, about the Warhammer IP, and just like the hobby in general, the people that I've met along the way, the games that I've played, the models that I've painted, it's just really nice knowing that there's a whole group of people out there. Some that I've known for years, others that I've never met, but we all have this one awesome thing in common. And I know this video is a little unorthodox. I don't normally talk about myself, but I guess after all these videos and all these years, I feel a certain connection to you guys. And whether you know it or not, you've always been there for me through the good times and the bad times. And I want you to know that I'm always there for you too. So as always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. But that's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I love you guys. And I'm out of here. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video.